This is an absurd chess endgame from Leningrad in 1972 in a chess tournament. Now, in this chess game, it seems like white is absolutely crushing. They're about to promote their pawn and checkmate black's king, but all of a sudden, things get extremely complicated after black plays the move queen to b7. Because in this position, if you play the very natural looking move, pawn promoting to a queen, trying to checkmate the black king, it is you who is blundering away the game after black plays the brilliant move queen to f7 check, forcing a queen sacrifice white has to accept because otherwise your king is in checkmate. So after queen takes queen, this is actually stalemate. The pawn cannot move because the king would be taken, and the king cannot move because the queen would take the king. So this is unfortunately stalemate. Now in the game, it was not actually stalemate because white did not promote to a queen. So if you can't promote to a queen, what can you do? Well, if you ever try to push your pawn on g5, what happens is queen to f3 with checkmate. If you ever try to move your queen away, well, unfortunately, you're probably blundering the move queen to f7 checkmate. And so it's very hard for white to actually move, and they have to promote this pawn to something. If you promote it to a rook, which might seem natural, it unfortunately falls victim to the same tactic, sacrificing the queen, and this is again stalemate. So what can white do in this position? Well, you probably understood by the title of this video, they have to underpromote to a knight or a bishop. And so in this position, let's say you underpromote to a knight because this is a common underpromotion. However, in this position, if you underpromote to a knight, it's still a draw because there's no way to make progress for white. The knight is never going to be able to actually escape the square of a8 because in this position, if you try to leave, it will simply be captured. And so maybe you try to bring the queen to help the knight escape. You're trying to protect the knight, so when it moves, you'll be able to bring it and attack the black king. Unfortunately, again, you would end up blundering the move queen to f7 checkmate. So this is very unfortunate. How do you make progress here? If you ever tried to push this pawn, it might actually get dangerous for white, because if you're trying to run your king out and try to make progress like so, you're trying to get your knight into the game, it might be black making making progress, because this pawn might become a target. You might end up blundering some checkmate here in the corner, and it can get very dicey for white. So you cannot underpromote to a knight, although this may be a way to try for a win if there was not a much better move. Now, the best move in this position is underpromoting for a bishop. And if you underpromote to a bishop, which is extremely rare, in this position, you are completely winning. And the reason is that the king is very weak on the light squares, and it's going to be very easy to get the bishop to attack the king. And now the sacrifice does not work because the king can move to h8. So in this position, after the player underpromoted to a bishop, the queen had to move somewhere, and after this queen is finally able to move because there's no checkmate, what ends up happening is that after a couple moves, the queens are forced off the board, the king moves back here, and after the move queen to e8 and the trade of queens, the game is simply over. A couple moves later, and a pawn is lost, and here the black player resigned, and this is an absolutely crazy endgame where a player had to underpromote to a bishop to win the game. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more.